All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for
Bungou Stray Dogs Season 3, Episode 7.
7.
Yes, 7. Last episode was a ton of fun. Lots of hilarity ensued there and things like that, but then also really serious.
Emotionally complex character stuff on their backstories of the main two young characters.
Right, in the ADA. And, okay, awesome. Good stuff.
Yep,
Does that mean then that we're about to traverse into major plot territory?
Possibly. I think that having a little bit of a breather time in between, backstory, not backstory, but kind of like prequel arc of sorts with Zai and Chuya, then kind of shifting some character focus around the main cast feels pretty good. If anything, having something that could be Port Mafia focused to branch us into some kind of the conflict, which is definitely going to be coming with Dostoevsky and the Port Mafia, or maybe have things focused on Dazai so that he can be the in again for Dostoevsky, or we can just have another Dostoevsky episode like that amazing one where he just mind gamed Johann the fuck out of
that dude.
That poor guy. Was that guy Ace, I think?
Something like that. Yeah.
But okay, y'all. Without further ado, let's get into this. All right, everyone, now be sure to go check out the reaction portion of the video in the description below, then come back here for the discussion. All right, this was a fun, goofy episode.
Yep, this was great.
This was hilarious because I didn't care at all about Louisa before this episode, but we saw an interesting side to her here in that she is the archetype of the dutiful subordinate that does not have many connections and thus kind of over-obsessively connects with one particular person that's in a power role.
Yeah, that gives vision and all that stuff.
Yeah, and it shows in a lot of ways the kind of ways she can be saved from this not so healthy relationship and dynamic of, legal stuff and what have you. But hey, she's enjoying it and it's a good thing for her. But Francis is back. The great Fitzgerald.
Fitzgerald rising. Like that.
I love the whole idea of this slice of life style rising of a villain, because the joke of it is that we don't care really whether or not he's going to rise up to that high level. Once he says he's going to, we know he will.
Right. That's part of the rule of cool of everything and all that. And it's great.
And it's great. And the idea that, one, the story can then make these very simple, funny promises of guy who was on the street will eventually be worth $50 billion.
Right.
It's like, yes.
Okay.
That's going to happen.
I mean, if you
it's just a matter of when and how.
Right. Yeah. Because one, he's got all kinds of potential connections and stuff. But two, she can just slow time down to 1/8,000th while she's by herself. That's all kinds of ridiculous.
Yeah. I love it as the details of the ability needed to be fleshed out so that we understood, okay, the reason why this is going to happen is because of her ability.
Right.
Like Francis could definitely do a lot, but it would take too long.
Exactly.
So she did all the research necessary to find out which company could, if pressured by the CEO's lack of
image
moral,
or whatever,
ethics, image, what have you, and that was all brought to light. Their stock would plummet dramatically. Then he was like, okay, we need to find a way then to acquire a loan of some kind so that we can then get enough money to short the stock so that once we buy out the stock back at whatever the price would then be shorted to, then we can then have enough to have at least 51% of the company. Or at least more than any other shareholder would have.
Right.
And thus own the company ourselves.
Cool.
And then get, basically force the board of directors to be like, hey,
I now have supreme executive power.
Well, right, but I am now the new CEO, basically.
Sure. Yeah.
By order of, the fact that I am the biggest voter in the stock side of things, but also,
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, okay, cool. It all made sense. It was all very simple. I loved the little moments, though, in this episode.
Yes, they were great.
The funny one of Poe being brought to go and get Rampo to do the whole thing for them. That was perfect.
Because it's the kind of thing
perfect.
where in this show, having the different organizations work together, like it feels very kind of battle shonen-y. We need to beat the shit out of each other and then become best friends, right? But in this case,
not exactly, yeah.
Right, but not exactly because they're not best friends. But sometimes they have to work together. But
they don't have to know that
they don't have to know that they're working together, and I love that because it's like it feels like on the one hand it's one of those things of like, okay, we're telling a side story, but we got to have the ADA in here somehow, right?
Show up,
show up, make an appearance, a cameo, whatever, right? Oh, here's how we'll do it, right? And because Edogawa Rampo is absolutely busted as far as his power goes, and the fact that he's motivated by the silliest of things makes him for an incredible character when it comes to adding comedic developments into the story, right?
He's a way that you can write around a whole lot of problems that characters need to overcome quickly by just saying, if he cares enough about a case, specifically a case, like a detective solving case, like a puzzle of some kind, he will solve it, and not just in its entirety. He will do it quickly. Extremely quickly. Now, she has enough time to research and figure out who's the best detective that she has immediate access to.
And what's a case that could, generate a lot of funds for them and everything.
She gets all that info. But then, we have a wonderful skit in Season 2 that gets called back up on by having Poe, the original... Edogawa Rampo is the rip-off name of essentially. Then we get to have them interact again. And he's like, ooh, are you working on your new mystery novel? He's like, no, I have a riddle for you. And it's like, poor Poe. He had to come in here and be like, okay, my rivalry, I will show you this riddle, which I know you're immediately gonna solve, and it has nothing
you're so awesome and everything.
It has nothing to do with my writing or anything like that.
No.
But okay, sure.
That was just great. Also, I gotta say, I love that the way that Fitzgerald basically took the corrupt CEO murderer down. Was something that was so completely avoidable from the CEO standpoint.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Because even if he found out what the situation was, the CEO, if he was going to be, like, really smart about it, right? The best liar, after they lie, they erase even from their own mind that they lied, right? The thing that is the lie, no, that's actually just the truth, right? And so... There, if you'd just been like, what are you talking about? Yeah, that's fun.
Weird.
Sure, that's a fun crackpot theory. I wonder if anyone's going to believe you or something like that, right? Fitzgerald wouldn't have anything that he could have done, right? But he handed him an actual check,
Like, that's about as dumb as you can get.
Yeah, that's about as dumb as you can get. Even if you're going to do something like that, make it cash untraceable and be like, sure, you'll have to take my word for it or whatever, but,
But you know what I think it was?
Uh-huh.
It's because Louisa did the research.
Oh, that he was also an egomaniac or something?
No. It's that we need to see him before we do this. We need to ask for the 100K first so that he thinks nothing of us.
Oh, sure.
Then when we see him again and we ask for 400K, he's going to be like,
yeah, that's chump change. Yeah.
And then he gives it to him and he, evil CEO laughs in his mind like, this fool, this idiot, that's it? I'm going to have my contract killers go and find him in an hour.
Right.
This is going to be easy.
Yep.
Go and destroy any evidence that's ever... Wait, why is he coming back to the courtroom? What?
Uh-oh.
What? Fuck. No. Stop this.
And I love that they brought up the whole thing of like a recording that's inadmissible as evidence, right? Because the person doesn't know the recording, whatever. It
could be tampered.
Right, it could be tampered, but also people could say all kinds of things on a recording because they think it's a joke, or they could use that as the explanation for it, right?
Yeah, usually recordings and stuff like that.
Check.
Yeah. The recordings and stuff like that, again, the way the court process works, none of that would be admissible as evidence because evidence has to be presented before a certain time and go through a whole vetting process and all that. So anyway, the idea that he's like, I don't even care about whether or not you're found guilty by the law. I am like awful. I don't care about justice or anything like that. I am here to stimulate the powers of social media. This is just to create rumors.
That's a good point.
That you're a murderer. Right. And the rumors are enough for people to then go,
shit.
Fuck this guy.
Yep.
Trending on Twitter, goes out everywhere, and it's enough to be like, someone probably took their phone out and was like, oh my god. Or started taking a video.
He puts the MP3 online with, like, whatever, right?
Yep.
Like, court footage of him storming in at the end after they call the verdict and everything. Sure. Yeah.
Easy.
Yep. Easy peasy.
Easy peasy. And the idea that, like, immediately I was like, wait, well, then what's the most genius thing they could have done?
Yeah.
Well, they shorted the stock. That's what they had to do. And they shorted the stock. I'm like, yes! I never see that kind of stuff utilized in anime.
Oh, like, sure, yeah.
Like, generally, like, especially in anime that's less, I would say, generally, like, slower, like, not slower drama kind of anime. Like, this one's a much more fast-paced, like, higher energy.
Well, and it's like, the American goofy, character that comes in, and then...
Oh, that's a good point, too.
So, of course, right? Like, the idea of shorting stock, like, it's one of those things where, on the one hand, it's like, yes, I get it in theory, if that could be something that could be helpful to be able to do, or whatever, right? But... also, that's where some of the sketchiest, like, money stuff shit comes in.
One of the most disgusting things that you'll see really often in the markets here, in the U.S. at least, I know this.
The GameStop thing,
Well, I mean, no. I'm talking about, sure. I know what that is, but I'm talking about just the general practice is the idea of articles specifically written and paid for to talk clickbait headlines about nothing, just so a stock can potentially go down off of that news that might not actually be true. Then people who short the stock just a little bit there make that big. It's really gross. It's really gross. So, love to see our dastardly season 2 villain use it as a method here.
Absolutely.
Then the other little detail is the idea of, okay, when he was falling from the Moby Dick,
that was great. Yeah.
His ring was consumed in order to save him, basically.
Right.
And it was no small amount of funds. It wasn't like he consumed the 500K, and it was like, he has a little bit left.
Nope. Because that's not how it works. Once he consumes something, he doesn't get change.
No, he doesn't get change. But just the idea of, like, he probably had some element of his power still left over and had to just feel it all get wasted away over time as
he swam to shore or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Sure. But the idea that was the last thing potentially connecting him to his dead wife, okay, cool. I buy then that we'd find him where we did.
Right, absolutely just no hope, broken in the pits. Yeah.
Because just losing money for CEO, evil villain character like that, I wouldn't really buy necessarily that he would be actually broken. It would need to be something that was extra tied to his emotional purpose as a character.
And that's
the main thing that we had given time, focus, and dedication to that in season 2 was the idea that he wanted to revive his wife with the book. Right. But he never found the book. He was, he was
thwarted.
Yeah, he was thwarted. But he could bounce back, right?
Oh, yeah.
Nope. Not if he believes this is all useless, especially if... This is another weird thing. The way he said his wife saved him, it makes me think on some level he's like, do I have anything? Do I have anything in my disposal to save me from death at this fall? And he didn't know he was going to consume the ring.
Oh, sure.
It was just, what do I have? What do I have? What do I have? Use it. Oh, wait.
Oh, no. What have I done?
What have I done?
Yeah.
And he almost maybe could have learned the lesson and actually been redeemed on some level, is that his pursuit of, power and money and all that at the cost of everything was what led him to then lose the last thing connecting him to his wife.
Oh, okay. All right.
Because he wouldn't have been put in this position if he had done, because he did things this way. I feel like it's the whole thing where the villain could have learned the lesson on the way down to the bottom, but the fall broke them, basically.
Gotcha.
And yet, thankfully, in his case at least, not necessarily the world's.
Right.
Louisa found him and gave him 50 cents. And I love the gesture, or the idea of a small little token of value being something that makes him feel like, okay, I can protect her in this case here.
Yeah, yeah.
And yet, no, he's not redeemed. He's not saved. He's changed a little bit. He likes 3-for-1 deals now.
Right.
But no, he's not really much better than he was before.
And we don't necessarily know how much of what he was saying to the evil CEO was part of the act or was genuine. So, like, there's the part where he walks out because he's like, oh, you don't care about the people underneath you, right? And the thing that Louisa May Alcott was saying is that your leadership is what was most important. I can't imagine he would be that fantastic of a leader if he genuinely just didn't care at all about the people underneath him.
Yeah, but you know, a utilitarian still cares about those that provide value.
Yeah.
But once he then, you know, subsumed her value or what have you, and then was like, oh, it seems your value is quite limited. It's just like, yeah, he's still a son of a bitch. Like,
right. Well, yeah. There's son of a bitch, and then there's evil. I feel like.
No, I think that the difference here, though, is that he literally cares about no one even close to the value that he cares about himself and his own power. That is the kind of thing that I would say is pretty borderline evil. Like,
well, because the like. I feel like you could definitely take that interpretation from the things that happened here, but I feel like there could totally be different interpretations.
Sure, I think that the way that usually these kinds of things happen to redeem an evil character is you basically say like, but here's a character with no name, no face, you don't care about them, that's more evil. And then they'll stop them, so therefore they're good,
they're
right?
good, right? And that doesn't work.
No, that's just hand-wavy stuff.
Well, okay, so taking this stuff from Season 2 as an example.
Sure.
The big problem with him in Season 2 wasn't the fact that he was, like, working against the other organizations. It was the fact that he was going to drop a whale on a city, right?
Yes.
Like, that's the problem,
He was going to kill millions or hundreds of thousands, basically.
And it was totally just for the conflict of the story, because really he didn't have to do that. Nope. He could have, with his funds, just contacted the ADA or the Port Mafia or whoever and been like, hey, I need this thing. I want to hire you to help me with that.
He literally wanted to flop his big whale dick onto the city and be like, I am God, bow and give me God powers with this book. Yes.
Because it was so overtly, like, for the plot of, like, having there be conflict so that way he could be the bad guy and get
defeated. He still did it, though.
But did he do it or did the
cool
author do it?
Still murder. Like, cool motive, still murder.
No, but...
Yeah. See, that's the thing. I do not think... that if presented with the same situation again, and he knew what he knew then, but he has, you know, basically, like, maybe, like, he wouldn't know whether or not it would fail or what have you, but it's, like, he doesn't have future sight, basically, but it has whatever change in his personality he has because of this time, because I think he did change a little bit. I think he would have done the exact same thing again, you know.
Maybe. Yeah. I feel like the biggest problem that he had was his ego, which
no, really?
No. And that definitely got shaved off of it. Like the fact that he proudly proclaims that, like, I got this in a 3-for-1 deal.
Well, right. That's a comedy gag for his lack of self-awareness about whether or not that really matters because he loves the rush now more of min-maxing his financial gain, whereas before, he would just walk in and buy the store. The main difference here is how much involved he is with the value generation at the minutest level. That has nothing to do with his morality.
Yeah, and if you think about it, even here, he didn't have too much to do directly with the value generation other than the fact that he was able to talk to the CEO and get under his skin, basically.
Right. He is very charismatic, and the thing that I think...
Other than that, it was Louisa May Alcott all the way.
Right, and I think that is kind of the big point here, is that he is a dastard bastard, basically.
Sure.
But ultimately, the thing that makes him charming, if you will, is that he is going to be doing this mini game with himself probably more often than he was going about rampaging and
for some reason
murder.
Deciding to try and destroy a city.
So we'll keep an eye on you. Keep an eye on you, and now we have what I kind of wanted to have before, but the guild was handled in a kind of a weird way in season 2, is that now the guild is coming back.
Yep.
And they just are going to use a company as their front for where they can then have their resources and stuff. They'll be like the Port Mafia, a bit amorphous in the beginning and limited.
Yep.
But eventually just another tall skyscraper in Yokohama that just
that is a group that the ADA can talk to when, the villain of the current arc, rears their ugly head or whatever.
Right, and then we can assemble everybody for some big, showdown of sorts.
Absolutely.
But surprisingly, that might not even happen because we're already in episode 7 of season 3.
That's one of the things
Dostoevsky has
not really made a move.
Not much of anything on the surface,
Right, I'm sure he's doing all kinds of prep stuff and everything, but unlike for Louisa May Alcott, it doesn't take 3 minutes. So
he actually has to potentially do a lot of groundwork. Now, we did see him.
We did see him.
We did literally see him,
which
and he was
hasn't happened in a while.
He was having a Zoom call of sorts with his little cronies. Social distancing, I understand, is a thing, but you don't need to wear your mouse masks digitally, Fyodor Dostoevsky. That's a thing that you're covered digitally. I know there's maybe abilities and stuff.
Yeah, maybe it's something where it's like, hey, information broker that they're dealing with, they don't want to let their identities, but I mean, come on, he knows that already.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's if we get basically Dostoevsky making his big move at the end of the season, and that's the tease for season 4. I would love that because the slice of life stuff with this show is
very fun.
Some of my favorite moments in the show.
Yeah, I feel like what it is because this is definitely an adaptation of
light novels,
of a work. Yeah. So I can definitely feel the creator getting more comfortable with writing the characters with less, I would say, constant gravitas. There's an element of fun and comedy that I feel like the creator of the story is getting more adept with, and thus I don't feel as pressured to take the moment by moment stuff in the episodes
as seriously.
Because just being fair to the show, it has some really great high concept writing moments, but the details of how it chooses to go down is essentially the rule of cool.
It's a lot of sort of connect the dots and don't look too closely at the stuff in between.
Exactly. So episodes like this, I would say, fit more in the show's favor.
Yes. Right.
By a lot.
And Fitzgerald, now that he's got his company and everything, maybe he has learned his lesson, not necessarily from the personality standpoint, but just from the business investment side of things. Maybe when all of the crazy stuff goes down with the Port Mafia and Dostoevsky and ADA, he'll just be like, nah, I just got this company. I want to build up my capital a bit more first.
We're not going to participate.
Right. We are going to Switzerland this and just, keep to our own business because...
no one knows... No one knows what the guild is doing.
And he's getting his 18% or whatever.
Actually, Rampo probably knows exactly what's going on.
He doesn't. Yeah, they'll be.
But he's not going to tell anybody.
They're going to be all crazy stuff's happening. Oh no, we can't do this. If only we had some allies we could call on. What about the guild? Yeah.
There's someone we could talk to. What are you talking about? Oh, no, I don't feel like it today.
Right. Tell us, Here's some snacks. Okay, fine. Fitzgerald's got a new company now, and, he's got tons of money.
He could probably drop $1 billion on his own ability if he really wanted to, and he could just paste whoever we need him to. But we're not about that, right?
No, definitely not.
No. But y'all, thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below. For our Patreon, you can get an early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us in the community there about this show, about anime in general, and also be sure to check out our Twitch channel.
We stream every weekday. The info's in the description.
Yeah, so paying that interest, you will see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all
next time.